All right, welcome to a MECLABS Live Optimization Webinar. This is your chance to have your page, have the MECLABS team look at your page live, on the call, provide optimization feedback. We produce these webinars here at MECLABS out of demand that we've received from our audience over the years, particularly our marketing experiments audience, where we publish a lot of the research we're doing from MECLABS. Just to begin looking at pages, last week we had Ben Phillip on the Marketing Experience Web Clinic. He was walking through some principles we'll get to in a minute, and we got to one page, but we had several other pages in the can ready to go. And so today we are literally going to spend the majority of our time just looking at your pages, trying to apply some of the things that Ben walked us through last week to your very own campaigns. For those of you who are not familiar with MECLABS, just a quick background. I'm not going to read this slide to you. I assume most of you know who we are, but if not, essentially we're an institute, a research institute, trying to understand why people say yes, and we've been doing that for over 2 decades now, running experimentations, A/B tests, the world knows what those are now, using the web as a laboratory to understand why people say yes. We've run we've tested over 20,000 paths and pages and emails and every possible kind of marketing collateral you can think of to really figure out why people say yes. And as you can see beside me, for those of you tuning in, you see them on the screen, I have 3 particularly special guests from the MECLABS research group. And usually I would introduce them, but today I kind of want them just to introduce themselves. And so I'm going to go over here to Ben. Most of you probably know Ben, have seen Ben on our webinars, web clinics before. Ben, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Austin. It's great to be back here. I've been working at MECLABS for over 4 years now. I've been a part of the data team, part of the optimization efforts, and done a lot of live ops with you guys, overseen a lot of experiments, and I just enjoy bringing that kind of knowledge I've gained to the audience. So.
Excellent, excellent. Lots of practical hands-on experience from Ben. Aaron, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin. I've also been with MECLABS for about 4 years now. I spent the first couple years working directly with our research partners to run a lot of these tests and get a lot of these research. And now I'm over on our internal marketing team.
And John, go ahead.
Hi everyone. Excuse me. I'm John Doretta. I'm a research manager here, and what I do is I work directly with the clients, with our research partners, and do the testing and get these learnings through online testing and optimization of the websites.
Yeah, so combined, guys, you have many, many years of experience of actually working on pages, working with partners. Some of the tests that we walked through last week, these guys actually worked on themselves, and so they're going to bring all this knowledge as we look at your particular pages. One thing I do want to say, in this whole conversation, we're going to try to create a bit of a conversation. It's going to be organic. None of this is rehearsed. Some of us have seen the pages more than others, and so it's going to be kind of an organic conversation. The one thing I want to say is we do want to make it a conversation not just between us, but also with you guys. For those of you who watched the clinic last week, I'm going to be asking you questions, and I want to make this a dialogue, right? So you have your question and answer feature provided there by GoToWebinar. If you've used that before, good. Just get ready to use it. If not, I would encourage you just to test it out. Send a little test through. Let us know that you're here, and just to get used to that, because in a moment I'm going to get your feedback. I'm going to get you looking at pages, and we're just going to create a conversation for the people on the line. My name is Austin McCraw. I do a lot of these webinars, a lot of these web clinics. I oversee the content production here at MECLABS, mostly focused on the education side of things, and so just the privilege of getting to watch the work that these guys do and see a lot of the very interesting learnings about human nature and people that we get through our labs. So I want to get to the pages as fast as possible, but just to set us up, I want to do a quick review of what we learned or what Ben walked us through in the last web clinic with marketing experiments. And he talked about this thing called the only factor. I showed you all those experiments early where we had win after win after win. One of the key essential ingredients that we've seen in our research that makes one page more effective over another is this thing called the only factor, and it gets to the value proposition. Most of us on the line or who have marketing degrees have heard this term value proposition or unique selling proposition or point of differentiation. There's a few words out there, but it's this idea of what is it that makes you uniquely valuable to your your customers. And what makes something more valuable is a component of two things. And you can see that in the principle here on your screen. I'll just read it to you. It says, an appealing offer without exclusivity has its force diluted by competing options. Now, that may seem complex for those of you who weren't on the clinic last. It's not as complex as it seems. Essentially what we're saying is that there's two elements that impact the force of a value proposition. There's appeal and there's exclusivity. And you have to have both. We're going to look at the pages that you've submitted with this framework. We're looking at how forceful is the value proposition. Some of the pages are going to have a lot of appeal but no exclusivity. Other pages may have a lot of exclusivity and not much appeal. What we're saying and what you've got to get, or what you hopefully you got in the web clinic last week, is that you've got to have both. To increase your conversion from your online ad and strengthen your value proposition, you got to find that place where both appeal and exclusivity overlap. This visual is probably just the easiest way to understand this principle. You've got appeal on one side. You're trying to find that thing, or find the aspect of your offer. Your offer has to make the customer say, I want this. I actually want it. It's relevant to me. It's important to me. It's something I need urgently right now. But that's not enough. Because we can all come up with offers or things that have appeal but no exclusivity. The classic example we use is oxygen out there. I mean, I can't sell you a cup of oxygen because it's everywhere. There's no exclusivity, but you would all agree it has appeal. So appeal is not enough. You have to have this exclusivity piece. And so not only does the customer have to say, I want it, but they have to say, I can't get it anywhere else. Again, we can think of offers that have exclusivity and no appeal. We can create the world's only PowerPoint clicker with an MP3 player added, signed by Ben Phillip here to my right, and we've got super exclusivity. And no offense, Ben, but the appeal would probably, but despite to your potentially relative or your mother or something like that, but it would have. I personally
think there's a market for it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's actually launching his new line of PowerPoint MP3 player clickers signed.
Crowdfunded.
But the point is. And we'll see this, and it seems obvious, but I'm telling you, as we look at pages, there will be offers with appeal, there'll be offers with exclusivity, but what you have to have is one that has both. Now, hopefully this is review, okay? For those of this is new, that's fine. Just kind of take that nugget as we go into the pages, but I'm done. I do think I have a slide here that, so if for some reason you didn't see the clinic, you can go to marketingexperience.com right there. You'll find, it should be at the top of the research directory right there, a 35-minute web clinic replay. That's where we break these principles down. We show examples. So you can always go there. There's also a new version we're kind of playing with right now, a 10-minute interactive research brief. Both of them are there for you to kind of get some of these principles we're talking about. We're not going to spend any more time now talking about that. Now we're going to shift into application. We've laid the ground in terms of foundation, in terms of theory. Now let's begin to apply. So I see some of you guys are using your question and answer feature. That's great. Get ready. Here we go. I am going to go to the first page right now. And this is a page submitted by Todd. Todd, if you are on the line, go ahead and type it in, let us know. It's just good to hear from you. And then the website's kind of hard to see there. The URL is Bimian, is that right? Bimian.com. And so what I want to do is, so we're going to pull the page up on a browser. We can bring it over if we need to. But audience, we're looking at this page right now. Okay, so as they're pulling it up, okay, this is interesting. Good. So let's look at this page together, audience, for a minute. Okay, cool. Nice, that's me. I see there, I think it's, is it Todd? Or what was it? Yeah, Todd. So your name's there different on your account. But Todd, it's good to see you on this line. So here's the page, audience. We've talked about appeal and exclusivity. We talked about the value proposition. Go ahead and scroll down the page and just soak this page in. Okay, cool, Todd, thank you. Soak this page in for a minute. Okay, obviously there's some things going on there, kind of interesting. But this is, guys, what we're trying to do here is put ourselves in the shoes of the customer as we look at this page. Go all the way to the bottom. How long is this page? All right. Scroll up. Okay. All right. Now go up to the top. Here's what I'm going to do. Now, before I get our experts here to look at, I just want to see how well we're caching some of the stuff we've talked about in. Here's what I want you to do for a minute, audience. Let's see if we can do this. I want you to rate this page just from this top of the page right here. Okay, the first basically 4 inches of this page is essential in the customer's experience. They got to know where they are, what they can do here, why they should do it. On a scale 1 to 5, how appealing is what they are offering right now? By just looking at this page, not bringing any other input that you know from outside, just looking at this page, how appealing is it? Go ahead and put your scores in there. Spencer, good to see you on the call. Okay, I see. Now, I'm just going to read you some of these scores, Todd. Just so this is not me saying anything. This is your peers. I see a 2. I see a 1, 2. I see a 3. You got 1 4. Heather really likes you, Todd. You got 2.5. Another 4 there. You got 1 5 from Nick. Nick must really like these cars. But what I'm seeing, Todd, just so you know, is there's a lot of maybe there is some appeal here. There's some debate about appeal. A lot of people are rating it low, but there's a few that find it appealing. Now let me switch on you, audience. Okay, let me switch on you. What on a scale 1 to 5 would you give the exclusivity? 1 being low exclusivity, 5 being high. Do you see anything on this page that gives it exclusivity? Oh, Todd, Heather turned on you. She gave you a 4, but for exclusivity, she's giving you a 1. Okay, so it looks like everyone here is giving you a 1 on exclusivity. All right, so just this is how you kind of can look at your pages. You can kind of rate them this way from appeal, and this just appears. So, Ben, just starting with you, looking at this page, hearing what the audience says, where would you start as a researcher?
Well, the first thing I would do is to it's really, this page has a lot of different ways to start the process of shopping. Shop by series, shop by chassis, shop by brand. You can even pick different options at the top navigation. What you haven't told me is how am I going to get to where I want to go the fastest, right? You're letting the user know that. The second thing is there's nothing about the company in here or anything about the process that would differentiate you from any competitor that I would see. So it's really interesting when you actually look at the page. If you scroll all the way down to the very, very, very bottom in very tiny writing, you have a lot of actually really good value propositions.
Let's read that to the audience. Now, audience, I know you didn't see this, but Ben's pointing out this is a common thing we see just for everybody. Okay. Oftentimes you have a value, like this company I assume has a value proposition, but oftentimes it's buried either 4 or 5 pages deep, or you're talking about this small print.
Yes.
All right, so first off, no one's going to read that print.
No.
Okay, we are probably the only people on the planet right now that are going to read that print.
Yes,
okay, because we're optimizers and we're trying to find something. But listen to this. Bimian.com is the #1 place online to find the most exclusive, unique BMW parts and accessories. Audience, for Todd, do you think are you starting to feel some appeal and some exclusivity in that? Would that change your score? Okay, so yeah, I'm seeing some responses come in. Absolutely, all right? Whether you're looking for BMW wheels, BMW LED lighting, this is where we're getting to specificity. You get all these things here, or any other type of BMW aftermarket parts. That's huge.
Yeah.
We keep going. Our online BMW part catalog is full of incredible upgrades, accessories.
Well, one of my favorite lines that they have in here is incredible upgrades and accessories for your ultimate driving machine. That's the BMW tagline, we all know it, so why not say something like the ultimate parts for your ultimate driving machine, or something like that sets them apart. Also clarify what makes them #1.
Yeah, so that, you're getting to #1 and most exclusive. Those are all words that imply exclusivity, but to Ben's point, I don't believe you. And I'm speaking as the customer. Everyone says they're #1. So what is it that makes you #1? And Jim just actually put that very question in there. What makes your offering unique? So scrolling up to the top now. Okay, so now that we have that knowledge, what are some things, audience, that you would do to the top part of this page right now to intensify the value proposition of this? I'm going to, before I let Ben loose and the others loose, what are some things that you would do to the top of this page right now to bring in some of that value proposition? All right, so I see Angela says declutter. Okay, Zach says header. Zach, what do you mean by header? Flesh that out a little bit more. If you're talking about a headline, actually, why don't you write a headline? What you're talking about there? What else would you do to the top of this page right now? Larger brand name, move up value prop. Okay, how would you move it up, John? Okay, so good responses coming in. You're getting it. Okay, I need you, fast on those keys because we're trying to make this a conversation, trying to help Todd as much as possible. Spencer says I would visually highlight the customer parts, or sorry, the custom parts. I get the GAF award for the webinar.
Somebody had to do it.
It's not usually this early out in the gate,
Yeah.
That's my face is turning very pink right now, so it's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, with that said, looking at this page, bringing that, so we'd all agree, let's bring that value prop up.
Yep.
You guys see any ways to do that? How would you do that?
I think a clear headline is key here. And it's kind of the same thing we've been talking about, pulling out that exclusivity factor and kind of telling us, why is this the number one custom part or place to get custom parts for your BMW.
Okay.
Maybe even adding some more exclusivity to the breadth of the variety of the parts they offer, how many different ones they offer. Bring that in so you're going to find, if you're looking for something, you can probably find it here. You don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Bimian, from what I could tell from the website, was that not only do they have their own parts, they also sell a lot of really high-end manufacturer parts for other people as well. So that exclusivity of having the breadth of parts, I think, is a really great point, John. The one thing that really is lacking for me is the process level value proposition on this page too. If I'm buying a car part, most likely maybe I have something wrong with my car, I need it now. So bringing in that process level value proposition about how you do business with them, how the parts get to me, those kind of things might also bring some exclusivity to the point. And when you do that, you really want to kind of peel back the layers of the process like a real flaky biscuit, if you will, to get to the meat and to let people know how to get to the end of it.
That's good. That's good. Now, you've been used a word that we use commonly around here, but some of the audience may not know it. So Ben just referenced this thing, and once you get this, it's huge. And so Ben's putting his finger on something really powerful. He uses a term called process level value proposition. Most of us, when we think of value proposition, we're thinking of our company. But what you got to get is that every yes on your page requires a value proposition. Even the yes of shopping by series, shopping by chassis, or whatever that is, shopping by brand. All of that requires a yes. So here's what I'm going to do. We have a team standing by, tweeting and sending out notes. Is that correct? So what we're going to do, audience, we're going to send you out just a link to some resources that talk a little bit deeper about what we mean by process level value proposition, if you've never heard that before. For those of you who've been on this call, you've heard that term before. You should know what we're talking about. Any other final comments to, Todd, the biggest thing, I'll say this and I want to get comments from you guys. There's a lot of discussion. Obviously, bringing some of that stuff up to top, probably one of the most strategic things you can do right now on this page is just start with a clear headline. I think Aaron hit it, and a lot of the audience is saying it. Even some of that first sentence from the text below, bringing that up to the top. You're hitting it with all this rotation stuff, but the headlines are in different places. They're different colors. Sometimes it's like, half black on black. It's hard to read. It really is not a conversation going on. And so bring a nice, clear headline that immediately engages them with what is making you appealing and exclusive. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next page?
I think Ben hit on another good point too, is what's a clear path forward? Kind of guide someone, help them find what the next step is.
Okay. Todd, I hope you found that valuable. If you do any of these tests, we'd love to hear from you. So, hashtag, or what is this? Twitter handle, @MECLABS. So if you're wanting to see, that's where we're sending the links out, Ken? Yep, so we have a whole team standing by, sending out links. If you want to get it on Twitter, it's @MECLABS. And so just, you can follow it there. Let's go to the next page, Todd. Again, hope you found it valuable. If you're running these tests, let us know. Here's the next page. This is FHA Mortgage. It says it's apply for the loan, or FHAloan.org. It's by Coulter. Coulter, if you're on the line, let us know. But here's the page to the right. It's a B2C audience. Most are pretty clear about what they're trying to do here. And what they're trying to do is trying to generate people getting started into this loan process. Now, audience, again, bring in this lens of appeal and exclusivity and the value proposition. Just let's take a look at the page. And as we're looking at it, I want you to ask yourself, how forceful is the appeal? How forceful is the exclusivity of this? I'll keep scrolling down. Good. Just looking at this page, just giving it a moment to sink in. Hopefully you guys are seeing it. All right, go back up to the top. All right, Colton. Audience, for Colton, what are you going to give this on a scale 1 to 5 for appeal? We're going to do this one more time, and then we'll go quicker, okay? So from appeal, let's see what the scores are coming in, all right? So this is interesting. I'm seeing higher scores now. So I got a 4, 4. I see a few 2s. I got a 4, a 3. Markello, I don't know if you got the instructions right. If he gives it a 6, maybe he just really likes it. 2, 3, 2, 2, 2. 4. Okay, so these. All right, Nick. Now you're just getting ridiculous. All right. So that's appeal. What about exclusivity? Let's switch over to exclusivity. What do you give it? Is there anything here that makes it exclusive? Looking at the words on the page. Okay. All right. So low scores here. So we're saying it's got high appeal, low exclusivity. So what you don't have there is an only factor at this point. I'm going to release the team on this page. Aaron, when you look at this page, what are some of the first things you see in terms of helping this?
I'm with the audience on this one, exclusivity, and then the other biggest red flag for me is credibility.
Okay.
Because what is the company or bank or institution that's offering this?
Is it FHA mortgage loan? Because that doesn't sound like a company.
It doesn't. That's what you're applying for is a mortgage loan. But what is the company that you're getting that from? I can't tell from looking at this page. And to me, that's a big red flag because a mortgage is something you want to trust the company you're getting it through.
Yeah.
I would say also similar to the last page, we're missing a clear headline here telling me why I should apply through this site versus, as some of our audience members mentioned, there's 100 other places where you can apply. Why should I do it here? What makes you different?
Good, good. One thing to look at this page right now, and Colton, this is, there's a lot of, and I look at this page, this is a pretty page. You got nice, like a big, nice stock image, lots of stuff going on. But the biggest challenge, I think Aaron hit it on the head. And we didn't teach this in the web clinic, but one of the key factors with your value proposition is something we call credibility. You have to have appeal and you have to have exclusivity, but once you have that, it's not enough. You've got to have credibility around what you're claiming. And in this particular industry, I think we would all agree that there's just a greater sense of anxiety. Number one, because it's a complex thing. Yeah. It's very complex. It takes months to coordinate sometimes. And then it's very expensive. And so oftentimes when you have those things coming together, you really got to be with credibility. And so what I'm saying is, if you go back up to the top, Tara, if you scroll up at the top, or Brent, I don't know who's scrolling today. What did you say, Luke? Brent. All right, Brent, thank you. Back at the top of the page. I'm not sure this image is doing anything to build credibility at all.
Well, the image to me is almost going off of an unwanted exclusivity, right? This is a very big house. FHA is usually a first-time homeowner. I don't know too many people who are buying a mansion their first time they buy a home, unless they win the lottery or are a professional athlete potentially. If I came to this page and I'm buying a two-bedroom house or something like that, it might seem, well, okay, FHA isn't for me. It's only for big-time real estate purchases.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're trying to do, Colton. You're trying to make an emotional appeal. But at this point, again, you may know your customer better. My hypothesis would be you're probably not going to win with an emotional appeal on a page like this, but rather using some image that builds some of that credibility that Aaron was talking about. Yeah. What else do you guys see?
Well, to play, I see a couple of users commenting about the negative language. We are not a government agency. And up at the top, we are not endorsed or sponsored by the Department of Veteran Affairs. As a consumer, that makes me wonder, well, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anywhere, I mean, let's just scroll down. Is there, audience, let me just ask you guys, help us find this, because we're having a hard time finding out who this company is. Is there anywhere on this page that states who this company is. So Mike says, where are the rates? Mortgage searches are driven by rate. Top, NRL Mortgage. That's what Donna says. Logo on the form. It looks like a government page. I agree with you, Charles. But it's not a government URL. All right, scroll up to the top. I'm looking for what was mentioned there in terms of the NRL.
It's at the very
yep,
top.
I
in the
see it
blue
now.
bar.
It's in that very top blue bar.
Still don't see it.
It's at the very end.
Oh, I
You're
see.
going to have to pull out your
NRL,
spectacles.
awesome. No, at the very, very top.
All right, so
That looked like it was part of the browser.
all right, so
Yeah.
so Donna, you win the microscopic Find It on the Page award. All right, so guys, listen. There is a lot. So one of the biggest things you can do, Colton, on this page is you just look shady. You don't even know who you are. And listen, you've got to be clear of who you are. Why? Who is NLR? Why get something from NLR? What is it about you that makes you actually different? Right now, there is appeal, but there's nothing about you that makes you exclusive. Nothing.
I think that's a great point, Austin. It really feels like the page is trying to bring out the appeal and exclusivity of an FHA type loan, not the appeal and exclusivity of why I should get an FHA loan through NRL mortgage company.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And you have to have both.
Yeah.
Likely. There's value propositions around both of those. There's some value with the FHA loan, but I can get that anywhere.
Yeah, and it goes back to credibility, like Aaron pointed out originally. If you don't have that credibility, it doesn't really matter what you say. You can have the most appealing and exclusive product in the world. If I don't believe you that it's going to benefit me in some way, or I don't believe that it's going to work for me, then it doesn't matter.
Okay. I want to go up to the top, and I know that we didn't cover this in the previous week, but what about this process right here? So they're trying to drive them in. Are there any just quick things that you would test in this form just to help Colton out? Any quick changes from some of the experiments that you guys have run?
Well, one thing I don't think that's clear is what is next. We say next, but what does happen next? And from kind of seeing this earlier, really those 3 tabs at the top are 3 steps that you have to fill out. But then it still doesn't tell you at the end what's going to happen when you apply for this loan. The other thing that's a little bit misleading now is.
So let me stop you there because
Sure.
So I think you bring up a good point, but to fix something like that, Colton, you might say something like if that's 3 steps, in 3 easy steps. So step 1, go to step 2, or step, so that next to Aaron's point is just so vague. It's that process level value proposition. So you might try, Colton, playing with some of this in 3 easy steps. That addresses something we call friction, and that we talk about it in some of our other courses. But keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to mention is at the top here, I guess our headline, it's apply for an FHA mortgage loan. So my next question is this my application? What exactly am I doing here? So I think that goes back to kind of the process level value that Ben had mentioned with our earlier example.
Yeah, so what does get started now mean? Am I doing something that I'm going to regret doing? There's some anxiety here. Maybe I just want more information. Like, is that what you're going to give me, or am I actually applying? I'm assuming, Colton, it's going to be some sort of, segue into a conversation, more information. It's not clear at all that you're doing that.
It is kind of disjointed. Your first question is select loan type, which means that apparently I have some knowledge of FHA loan types and I've studied this and I'm ready to go. But then your very next section is talking all about the benefits of FHA. So is the motivation of these people they already know and they're ready to buy, or is the motivation to find out more about FHA in general?
That's good. All right, any other comments? Now, audience, as we're going through this, you're hearing some things. Yeah, so Donna says this: finance stuff is scary. They never break down the acronym FHA. They don't break down. So there's just, Colton, probably the biggest thing you can address here is the anxiety associated with this. And you can do it through the implementation of a value proposition. You can do it by being more clear on some of these form processes. Audience, for you, the transferable principle is this. We're going to talk about appeal and exclusivity, but even if you have those 2 things, it's not enough. You've got to have both credibility and clarity on top of that. That's how you go from going from actuality to perception in the mind of the customer. All right, let's go to the next page. Let's we've got good time. We're making good time here, audience. As we're talking, if questions arise, feel free to just ask us and let us know. We'll try to do our best to answer the questions that you have. All right, here's the page, Womack Machine Supply. All right, this is submitted by Jay. Jay, if you're on the line, let us know. Good to see that you're here, if you are. All right, this is a B2B and B2C audience where the purpose of the page is e-commerce. We're trying to get them, I assume, to purchase some of this equipment. Brent, go ahead and pull up the page. Thank you, sir. Now let's just take a quick look at this page. Let's scroll down. All right. Okay. Well, you know, simpler page. Audience looking at this page, what are some things that you would do to intensify the force of its value proposition? Take a look at it. Oh, I see our scores coming in. 3 and 3.5 from Adam. Good, I'm training you. This is excellent. This is the lens that you can bring to it. Thank you, Adam. So, you know, looking at this page, audience, where do you think it's weak? Is it weaker in appeal? Is it weaker in exclusivity? And how would you actually improve it? I should take a moment to soak this page in. Hydraulic cylinder experts, high performance, high quality cylinders for your every application, including yours. There's so many things to consider when sizing a hydraulic cylinder to meet your needs. Whew. Okay, all right. John?
Well, the first take, reading through all the page, I'm not entirely clear on what the company does. They say high performance and high, can you go back to the top, high quality cylinders. Does that mean they provide them? Is that an assumption they want me to make? Now, if I actually look at the logo and the little sub-headline, Machine Supply Company, I can deduce that. But otherwise on the page, I get the impression that there's somebody I call to help find my parts. I don't know if they're the supplier. I don't know if they're an intermediary, a consultant. I would really like to see some more information about the brand and what they do.
Okay. Let's take that headline at the top. All right. Let's, to John's point, at what point do we actually get clarity? Hydraulic cylinder experts. How clear are we with that statement? What does that statement actually mean? Hydraulic cylinder probably has some meaning to it, but is probably, as you're saying, lower. There are so many things to consider. There's so many options here. So what are we talking about when we say hydraulic cylinder? And then the word experts. What do you guys think about the word experts?
It is so subjective.
What do you mean?
Well, virtually anybody can claim to be an expert unless they back it up. What qualifies you as an expert? Do industry certifications, or do your neighbors that happen to buy the cylinders from you and think you're really good at it?
That's right. Everybody and their mother claims to be an expert. All right? You can't, it's like saying we're the best, or we have great customer service. Everyone believes that, all right? I'm not trying to say that you're not an expert, but listen, there's no exclusivity in that. What is it about you that makes you an expert? What kind of evidentials how many years of expertise are we talking about? Now not a whole lot of clarity in that first line, okay? So let's go to the second one. High performance, high quality cylinders for every application, including yours. Now let's talk about that from appeal and exclusivity. Do we have clarity yet in terms of what the appeal and the exclusivity of the value of this offer?
I would say no.
I think Angela would agree with you. Angela's saying no as well. Okay, so high performance, high quality cylinders for every application, including yours. Listen, guys, that sounds good. It's like, it even kind of rolls off the tongue. But first off, we could probably go to every one of your competitors, and every single one of them are probably saying the same thing about their cylinders. Okay, if it's high performance, prove that. What makes it high performance? What makes it more high performing than the other cylinder? If it's high quality, same thing. Every application is vague. Get some specificity there.
Yeah, I think the earlier pages had a real problem with credibility, which this page does as well, but it suffers even more from clarity and telling me what is it that makes it high quality. There's got to be some exclusive factor that you have versus your competitors. You're also a little, and I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but there's so many things to consider when sizing a hydraulic cylinder to meet your needs, but then the very next thing is I'm expected to know the difference between a tie rod and a telescopic and a welded and a custom.
Yeah.
So, if you're building your expertise and you're the one, maybe that's a ploy. Maybe you want me to get confused, so I call you or something. But
honestly, there are so many things to consider when sizing a hydraulic. You're just creating anxiety.
Yeah.
And what you haven't done is you haven't connected that to your expertise.
Exactly.
You know, I think where you're trying to go, you're trying to help them. I think what you're trying to do is help them understand that you can help them. But at this point, you've just caused anxiety. And at this point, I'm looking at this, I don't have enough clarity to connect the anxiety you've created to you as the solution. And so within probably 7 seconds, the majority of the people coming to this page are gone. My guess, if I were to look at the metrics, and I don't mean to be too harsh, but I bet the bounce rate on this page is huge. The only kinds of potential response you're going to get, to Ben's point, is someone trying to make sense of the confusion.
Yeah.
You know. So let's scroll down. Keep going. So they're driving them to an action. It's this. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and put this up there, so at least if you're going to bring that anxiety into my mind.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You know, what I would say at the top would be to add some things that really build your expertise. Talk about, you know, people don't buy from websites, people buy from people. There's nothing about this that is telling me you're a person. It's all just kind of throw it out, and I'm confused by the imagery. Just talk to me like an expert in some sense. You know, show me who you are. Tell me why you're an expert, and then start to teach me a little bit about these pieces. What's the difference between a tie rod or a welded or a custom? And why would I want one versus the other? Build some credibility around your expertise, and then drive me to this process, to the scrolling down, Brent, to this call to action. Okay. Now let's talk about this call to action. Now, audience, here's just another piece of framework. All right. With every call to action like this, you have both cost and you have value. Okay, it's like on a fulcrum. We do the fulcrum a lot, all right? And so what I want to do is ask you guys, what value do you see in this? I mean, obviously there's cost. They're asking for name. They're asking for email. There's cost in that. But where's the value in this?
I don't know what the next steps are.
Okay.
I don't know. I want free help. That's a statement on the customer side, but what do I get once I enter my phone number and click it? I would assume free help, but I'd like some context between how and when.
Yep.
What I would say is, and this has been pointed out by an audience member, but that tagline, you have misspelled cylinder, so it could go against your expertise if you can't spell that correctly. And I don't mean to say that to be mean. I just want you to know so that you can go make that,
Ben, that was
correction.
Mean.
Was that mean?
That was mean.
You should see me off camera. No, and I was just going to go back to when we talk about trying to build authority and expertise. If you tell someone that it's a confusing process and all these things, and you build this anxiety, it might make them a little freaked out. You should let them have that kind of aha moment that I need help by giving them just enough to realize they don't know what they're talking about, but you do.
And not only that they need help, but why they should go to you to get it.
Right.
You know, when I see this form, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, I have no idea at all what's going to happen. I just got to give my name, and then, you know, what I like is that you don't have a word like submit or next or, you know, something that's super vague, but I want free help is not that much clearer, okay? Like, what does that mean, okay? Like, what's going to happen next? Is someone going to reach out to me? Am I going to get to have a conversation with someone? Are you going to give me information to help me make a decision? Like, this is so listen, this is the process of the value proposition that Ben was talking about earlier. If I am your ideal prospect, why should I want free help rather than basically leaving this page? Why? Like, what is it about your help that I want? So there's a value proposition around that, and there's appeal, and there's exclusivity around that. And guys, there's nothing. There's nothing there. It's just all cost.
You might want to add a question. Like, what are you asking them? There's a question box here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, and you know, our production director's getting in on the action here with the page. He said, you know, asking a question, explaining to him why you need the phone number, you know, turn it into a question and make it more of a conversation would personify this website a little better. Good stuff, good comments. Audience, I think you're getting it. I want to read one comment from Stephen. It says, the page and the CTA ignores what we know about those that use the web people go to a web to avoid talking to a salesperson. Research shows that users are somewhat between 70 to 90% of the way towards purchasing before they make a contact. That's Steven. He's just saying, listen, you're defeating your purpose by trying to drive them to the wrong call to action. You're getting your micro yeses, as we teach in our courses, mixed up. Okay, I think it's a valuable point, Stephen. Thank you for making it. Jay, thank you for submitting this page. Hope we didn't hurt your feelings too much. I know Ben can be tough occasionally, but honestly, at the end of the day, there's a lot of room for improvement on this page. And if you make any of these changes, we'd love to hear about how I did it. All right, so we're going to start moving faster. All right. Here's the next one. This is Ishwar, and it's pay per lead, okay? And the goal here, the audience is B2B, and we're looking at this page right now, and it's Google AdWords made easy. All right, so looking at this page, let's scroll down, skyrocket ROI to business. Okay, scroll down, take an action now. Just go scroll through the page all the way to the bottom. We'll go back up to the top. So this is one of those long form pages. Lots of value copy here. Audience, you look at this page and you might go, these kind of pages I don't like, they scare me, but guys, there's a reason why these pages exist, because oftentimes they're very effective. There's things in here that are actually, as I even look at this page, that are very effective. So don't shy away from that. Ishwar, there's some positive things in here. But let's scroll up to the top. And let's go just quick to this. Ben, what are some things that you see on this page in terms of helping improve the force of the value proposition?
Right. I think the value proposition for this site is a little bit confusing to me versus when you get down to the rest of the site, you start to get what they're actually doing. When I first opened it up and looked at it and I read the headline, I said, oh, this is some sort of consultancy, an agency, if you will, that was going to help me with Google AdWords, help me with paid media. They have some kind of key strategy that I need, and I'm looking for a third-party vendor right now, so I want to be on this page. But then as soon as you start to look at the video or scroll down one or two clicks, you realize this is really like a self-help type product that you're selling me. It's a video that I have to take and learn. It's a completely different motivation, and your credibility is almost gone at that point, right? Because if I was looking for those things, I was never going to buy your product anyway. So just be upfront right away with what it is you're trying to get these people to do. So make sure that your value proposition, you can have make sure it actually connects back to the actual product, right? It is actually an appealing exclusive value proposition, I think, but just not for what they're selling.
Good. One of the things that you need to watch out for, Ishwar. So again, you've got a lot of value copy in here. I think Ben points right. You wait way too long to get to what actually you're selling. Now listen, it may, and to the point of the audience, Mike says there could be stuff going on in the video. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with including the most important aspects of your value proposition in the video is most of the people coming to the page will skip past it to make sense of the page. You have not given them enough in the headline to really know, to Ben's point, what's going on. Yeah. And so Ben's trying to make sense of this page without actually looking at the video. I know you watched the video, but even he's doing the customer path. Most of your customers are going to skip this video. Never hide. This is for everybody. Never hide the most essential aspects of your value proposition in kind of secondary places. And as much, my background's in multimedia production, as much as I want video to be a primary place for people to get the value proposition, our experimentation would show that people often skip over videos because there's friction, there's time, it implies a lot of cost. Doesn't mean you can't have video. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying make sure you're not leaning on it too much, Ishwar. You may be missing people in that process. What else do you guys see?
I just saw a comment from Tom, and I couldn't agree more. It was the first thing I thought when I saw this page, is that they were trying to position themselves as a Google product. I think that goes back to a credibility thing, is I don't believe it, obviously, and they're not. The other thing that kind of jumps out at me is I feel like I'm being yelled at with this headline, with the exclamation points.
Is it the two exclamation points that do it for you?
It is,
yeah. A lot of capitalization randomly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here, let me ask you this. Rapid fire, okay? If you were to help Ishwar, what's the one, if you could only change one thing, what would be the one thing you change to boost the value proposition here?
I would empower the people and let them know that you are a source of expertise that they can rely on and teach themselves, and empower them to want to learn and want to be a person who does this themselves and not somebody who doesn't. It even goes back to the URL, pay per lead only. When I first saw the URL, I thought, oh, this is a company that's going to only charge me if they get me leads. They're not going to charge me for other things. So I would connect the value proposition back to the people who actually want to buy such a product and empower them to want to do such a thing.
All right, John, what's one thing you change on this page? You had a test.
If I had a test, I would definitely go with make the video more supporting, bring in the brand name, bring in some of the reason for going with that brand, some of the expertise, even some evidentials as to how they skyrocket your ROI. Something to add a little bit more value, a little bit more credibility.
Lack of evidentials is huge.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Mine's a little similar to John's, but it's a credibility thing. Tell me, what are other companies that have used you? What kind of results have they seen? Things like that made me believe you a little bit more.
Okay, guys, and audience, you should hear this word that we keep using over and over and over again. It's this word credibility, credibility, credibility. We have to make sure that we're articulating our value proposition with credibility. All right, I'm moving on fast. We're running out of time. I want to get to as many pages as we possibly can. Let's go to the next one. Here we are. This is IMS Cloud, completely different type of page. I love the variance in the pages. This is from David. David, if you're on the line, go ahead and just let us know. Say, I'm here. This is a B2B page. And the goal of this page is software as a service, SaaS. And so let's just look at this page for a second, soak it in. Wow, that's a massive finger. All right, so let's scroll down. All right, keep going. All right. Oh, is that it? All right. Okay. Okay. Audience. Oh, audience, there's so much that can be said about this page. Let's talk about it for a minute. What do you see right now on this page that you can do to improve the value proposition of this, the appeal and the exclusivity of this page? What do you think about the headline? Whoa. Okay. What do you think about the image used? All right. Look at it. All right, so this brings up, so I'm getting some comments here about the finger, all right? I hope I didn't skew the audience too much here, but I think it's an important point. Go back to the image for a second. This is the first image they see, okay? Now look at this image, audience. What does it say about the value proposition? If it says anything, it's potentially, try to stay on that for us, Brent. I know it's tricky, it keeps me, this is the other challenge with rotating banners, right? All right, so if it says anything, it's covered up by that headline. Like there's something, I think it says business intelligence, but I can't see that because it's completely covered up. Yeah. I've got these puzzle pieces, I've got this really microscopic picture of a finger. What is it saying about your value proposition? Once you have that thing that makes you appealing, once you have the thing that makes you exclusive, everything on your page has to connect to that. Every pixel must be preaching your value proposition. We teach that in our courses and we call it congruence. But image aside, what else do you see on this page? What do you guys think about this headline? Providing competitive intelligence and decision-making strategies to Silicon Valley global leaders and enterprises. Go ahead.
Feels like an incomplete thought to me.
Okay.
It's the first thing I think of. At first glance, it sounds good. I want to get competitive intelligence, but what does that help me do? What's the benefit? Kind of help me translate that into what it can do for me.
Okay.
One thing I will say I like is right below our banner here that we provide a wide range of business with that line. I do feel like I get some clarity into what they can provide. So I think that's a good touch, but I think more specificity and again, translating it into the benefit for me.
To me, the headline, the two Silicon Valley global leaders and enterprises, it feels somewhat geographically exclusionary to me. If I'm a business in North Carolina, can I get your services? Or is it strictly to just businesses that are in Silicon Valley? I would like to, if that's part of an evidential of, hey, we work with these great leaders and enterprises in Silicon Valley, definitely put some endorsements, put some brands up there. Yeah, sure.
Here's what I'm going to do. Totally right, John. Audience. Now, this is something that I just keep seeing it with example after example. Let's just stay on the headline for a minute, because I think the audience can benefit from this for a moment. What words in the headline mean nothing to you, audience? We saw other pages where we were using the word expertise. We see something. What words in the headline right here do you not understand what it means? Yeah, so Mike says competitive intelligence. Exactly. So there's one word right there, one phrase, competitive intelligence, all right? What does that actually mean? Sounds good, but as a customer, I don't know what that means. Here's another one. Again, decision-making strategies. Some of you guys are pointing that out. Absolutely. What is that specifically, all right? We're just talking at such a high level here that you're saying you're providing something that I don't quite know what it means. This is the challenge, right? We are so, it makes sense to us because we know the company. We function in company logic, we get it, but the customer doesn't know what it means. So bringing some specificity to what you're talking about, and the headline, the kind of subheadline below starts to go there, but it's still at such a high level. And let me just say this, audience, when you have no clarity, you can't have appeal. Like if you don't understand it, you can't want it. And so you've got to get deeper in terms of what you mean by these things. And then on top of that, you got to bring in the exclusivity. But I would just start with this page, Dave, just being more specific by what you mean competitive intelligence. Take yourself out of that company logic and have customer logic.
I think kind of to that point is I'm still unsure of what the product you're selling me is. There's no product value proposition here. Am I getting a consultant that's in-house with me? Am I getting someone who just gives a one-off report? Is it some sort of software that helps me figure this out? It's further convoluted by the second tagline. I have a complete understanding of their operating environment. When I think operating environment, I think my in-house environment and how my operations work. The name is IMS Cloud, which makes me think it's some kind of cloud-based thing. So the product here is just completely lost.
So much
in
confusion.
the thing. And then find out more. What am I finding out more about? And before, on the first thing, it didn't even look like a button. It just looked like how you scrolled through the things. So there's a lot here about the product. What am I finding more out about? What exactly are you going to give me? So build up your company, build up your products. And it's possible that this kind of is pointed out by one of the audience members is, you know, if your audience is used to this kind of, and this is how they want to be talked to, then maybe that's good. But I still think that the clarity around the product itself and building that authority is much needed here.
Yeah, Dave, this kind of looks like, to me, and I don't want to be too mean here, too harsh here, but it honestly looks like a website template, and you've just found some stock images, and you just kind of have plugged them. And you may have actually paid someone to do this in some sense, like just built just a out-of-the-box website. That's why some of the headlines are covering some of the images. I literally just purchased some stock images and threw up some headlines, and I have a website. This website's so disconnected. This is not. And Dave, again, I'm trying to speak the truth in love here. This is not a website that you necessarily just go and try to tweak your way to better. This is a website where you need to just step back and probably just start over in some sense. Take this website out back and just bury it, okay? Start with a new page. Think through engaging the customer from the beginning, connecting them with your value proposition. My goodness, you don't talk to your customers like this when you're trying to explain your company to them in person. Don't do it on the website. It's so confusing. All right, I'm being signaled by the team. We have very few minutes left. I'm going to challenge us to get through 2 more pages. 7 minutes left, 2 more pages. You think you're up for this? We're going to go rapid fire. Want to get to as many pages as we possibly can. All right, go to the next page. Here it is. Perfecto. We will see. No, this is Perfecto, submitted by Linda. Linda, if you're on the call, let us know. Jay saw you jump off. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for being on the call. Here we go. The goal here is webinar registrations. Good. All right, rapid fire audience. Quickly, we're going to look at this page. What would you change? Remember, think about appeal, think about exclusivity. What would you change? While you're thinking about that, I'm going to let the experts here go. So we'll start with John. John, what things do you see that you would change in terms of improving the value proposition?
First, I would say a little bit more about why Perfecto. Why would you go with Perfecto? A little bit more appeal, a little bit more exclusivity because I can go to any webinar.
Okay.
Why should I want to spend my time with that? One of the big things that stands out to me on this page is this is a webinar registration. The point of this is for me to come and watch this webinar, but I am hit with a form fill that tells me to register for the replay.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Is this a live webinar? Is this a replay? So there's some confusion there, Linda, around that. What do you see, Ben?
I see the de-emphasis that Microsoft apparently helps you put on this webinar, and they're somewhat of a globally known brand, so you might want to call them out or let people know that an expert in the field has done it. I also see the guest speaker image just bugged me right from the beginning. If you could get a picture of Uzi smiling and it makes me actually want to be in this webinar, then that would be great too. But those are the kind of two things that I initially picked up on.
We joke about that, but we have actually run tests where all we changed was the images of the person, and it made a dramatic improvement.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure your images are actually conveying the value you want to. Aaron, what do you see? What would you change?
I think a little more detail about how long is this webinar? To John's point, if it is a live webinar, when is it? If it is a replay, how's the replay going to be delivered? Is it, will I have instant access once I submit my information? Are you going to send me an email? Maybe a little bit more process value.
Good, good. I mean, how many of us woke up this morning going, man, I sure hope I can just register now. I'm just eager to register now.
I did.
Did
so
you?
I guess 1 out of 4.
Yeah, only one out of 4 of your customers woke up this morning wanting to register now. So you can improve the process of value proposition. Mike said something really important. I think, Mike, you nailed it on the head with the headline at least. The headline is just telling us what it is, not why. I see this is a principle across the board. Don't just use your headlines as a placeholder just to say what it is. Tell them what it is, but then make sure you're including in that the why for the what. Why should I attend this webinar? What is it about this webinar that makes it different than anything else? What gives it appeal? What gives it exclusivity? There's nothing in this headline that's doing that.
I like what Lori said too. Is the webinar free? Am I if I hit this register now button, am I going to hit a paywall, or what is it about? Just a little bit more clarity about what exactly I'm going to have to do to get this webinar. So build up what the webinar is, and then let me know how and what I'm going to have to do, the costs associated with such things.
All right, here we go. Final page, quick, let's move on. Hope you found that helpful, Linda. Final page. I hope this is a really tough one. I hope it's so tough. This one's going to you, Ben. All right, here we go. Quick, looking at this page right now, Discovery Insurance, B2C company, they're trying to do some lead gen around insurance sales. We can see the lead gen at the form of the page. Brent, go ahead and pull up the page on the screen for us. Awesome audience. Now, I'm going to hold Ben back for a minute. I know you're biting at the chomp there to get on this page. But audience, let's just do this one last time, okay? We're talking about appeal and exclusivity. Look at this page. Tell me. Well, let's just take a look at it. I'm going to get you to rate the appeal and the exclusivity, all right? I just want to do this one more time. This is the framework you need to bring to your own pages. All right, here we go. Looking at the appeal, what would you give it for an appeal? All right, Angela says 2. Do you agree with Angela? I see some comments coming through. Steve says 3 to 4, 3. So we're getting a kind of a, I'd put that in the category of We're getting kind of an appeal for this. Switch over to exclusivity. What would you give it for exclusivity? Is there anything in this that says this is the only place I can get this? I'm looking at comments coming through. Allison says nope. I'm going to translate that to a 1. Voted 1. Okay, I see 2. I see 1. I see low scores here for appeal and exclusivity. I assume, Ben, you would agree with that?
I would agree.
All right, so what quickly would you do to this page to improve its performance for Joanne?
A couple things that are right off the bat is that you haven't really built up discovery. You're not a well enough known brand to have that trust, but yet you're asking for my cell phone and my ID and passport, all very, very sensitive information. No connection as to why. If you actually go down the page, you'll realize that the thing that sets discovery apart is they're actually tracking you while you're driving, and the better you drive through GPS, the better your rates get and those kind of things. But probably not going to give you my passport and ID or my cell phone number if I've never heard of you. Yeah. Somebody else hit on the image. They said that the child looks in danger. That was an audience comment. And
hopefully they're not tracking that.
If you're yeah, exactly. So maybe it's something that gives more safety or something like that. I think they're trying to go for happiness and healthy, but it's kind of unrealistic to have a little girl sitting on your lap while you're driving, those kind of things. And then finally, the main headline is earn up to R800 back on your fuel spend every month, right? So it almost feels like a fuel cost savings.
What is R800?
It's a currency denomination, yeah. So.
I believe you, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the audience does, though.
I had to look it up. But so those are just kind of the things. Make sure you're telling me why you need information. Is that sensitive? tell me what exactly the product is, because it just feels like fuel spent, and then work on the imagery to connect back to the actual value.
Yeah, Joanne, you may actually have a value proposition here. I mean, in terms, you may be providing a unique service in terms of, just tracking your cars to get money back. But right now, the first thing that people see on your page is the phrase "car insurance quote," and then you immediately ask them for their ID and passport. Okay, you have not built up. It's literally like me going up to my wife for the first time and just on the first meeting of her asking her to marry me. Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't work.
That's actually how it worked, right?
Is that?
No, it wasn't.
No, it was a 2-year process with lots and lots of micro yeses. In this case, you have conflated the objective. You're asking for something so valuable way too soon. You have not expressed the value proposition at all. This page is completely out of order in terms of the sequence. Lots of things that could be said, but the biggest and probably most important thing would be just, to Ben's point, bring some of that stuff where you're explaining why. Bring that up the top before you hit them with the ask for that. And again, that button, call me back. Again, no one woke up this morning going, geez, I can just hope someone will call me back. Yeah, don't click that, Brent. I don't want anyone to call me back, okay? All right, audience, I am being flagged here that I am out of time. I've got a few slides to show you just in terms of additional resources. Going to take me to those slides if you would. Audience, I hope you found this valuable. We talk about value proposition. We have, I'll just skip through it. Yep, there we go. So listen, we didn't get to all the pages. I know that some of you maybe were a little bit hesitant to submit your page. But listen, we do this all the time. We love looking at pages. We love building a community of marketers where we're able to dialogue around optimization. Our goal here is really to increase the experiences of our customers. And so if you found it helpful, whether we looked at your page or we didn't look at your page, you can go to MECLABS.com/coaching, and we have a team standing by to take pages. It's just per audience request. We will spend time with you looking at your pages, giving you feedback, kind of like we did here on this call today.
Before you go to the next one,
yes.
You can go to the next slide, but one audience member has asked, how do I get my live optimization page to us? There is a form, I believe it's MECLABS.com/liveopt, L-I-V-E-O-P-T.
With the hyphen or just one word?
No, just one word. It is a hyphen? It is hyphen, L-I-V-E-O-P-T. So if you want to have your page on next time, please send it there, and we'll try to get it up there for you.
That's huge, guys. And listen, thanks for participating. One other thing that's coming up real fast is the Marketing Sherpa Summit 2016. Marketing Sherpa is one of the publishing brands here at MECLABS, where we do kind of our secondary research. We engage the audience to discover what's working from this big collective body of marketers that we have. Over 300,000 marketers coming together, not at this event, but in terms of over the years, we engage marketers, interview them, asking them what they're doing. We'll have lots of marketers, lots of case studies, 30 hand-selected case studies from the stage. If you found this valuable, we'll be doing live up there as well.
Live optimization.
So if you found it valuable, don't miss out on that. I know I'll be there doing a training, and we have probably 25-ish seats left. So get involved there. Audience, hope you found the day, this session valuable. Let us know. There'll be a survey at the end of this web clinic. One of the things, our spirit here at MECLABS is constantly optimizing. That's not just optimizing your pages, it's optimizing ours, optimizing the way we do these webinars. Give us feedback, help us make these better. Let us know what you liked, what you want to see more of, and things that you think might make it even more valuable to you. I know you can't see it, you can only see a slide, but I'm in the middle of a green screen room right now. I'm surrounded by an entire, in the studio right now, I've got at least maybe 10, 12 people, people running cameras, people tweeting, people making sure that we're staying on time, which I know I'm over. I get that. I got it, Ken. I'm out of time. I've got Brent running audio and running the slides, and so just a lot goes into this. I just want to, I can't thank everybody, but just thank the team for putting up with this, for doing this. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. If you liked it, please share it with a friend, and we hope to see you here next month when we look at pages live again. Thank you.